If you are a man looking for more energy, focus, and self-control, I have prepared a powerful ebook that will show you how semen retention can transform your life. Link in the first pinned comment. You have been conditioned to believe that masturbating every day is normal, that pornography is harmless, and that retaining semen is something for monks in the Himalayas. But what if I told you that this habit, so commonplace, is draining your energy, destroying your mental clarity, and keeping you away from true peace, prosperity, and the presence of the Creator of the universe? This statement may sound exaggerated to some, but those who awaken to the truth will never be the same again. What no one told you is that there is a hidden power within you, a creative, divine, spiritual energy, and when you learn to retain, channel, and elevate this force, life changes levels. It's not about repressing desire, but about mastering instinct. Those who follow this path become more focused, more magnetic, more connected with the light. And the most curious thing, they don't need to shout from the rooftops. Their energy speaks for itself. In this video, you will discover how ordinary men are being reborn as kings. How they rose from the rock bottom of compulsive masturbation to become their own leaders, with purpose, clarity, and a life force that moves mountains. Semen retention is not a burden. It's the portal. And now, it's your turn to cross. There is a moment in a man's life when he looks in the mirror and realizes that something inside him has been lost. It's not just about pornography addiction or compulsive masturbation. It's about the feeling of being disconnected from the Creator of the universe, from yourself, from the peace you once felt. This perception can arise on a Sunday night, after yet another relapse, or when waking up without energy, with heavy eyes and an empty heart. It is at this moment, of pure lucidity, that the call for real change begins. A silent supplication is formed, a prayer that, even through tears, carries a legitimate desire for light. Many try to rationalize, pretend that everything is fine, that everyone does this, but the spirit doesn't lie. When inner prosperity begins to dry up, when even pleasure loses its flavor, man understands that he is paying too high a price for the illusion of easy pleasure. Anyone who has ever sought meaning in self-help books, motivational videos, or digital gurus begins to suspect that the answer may lie somewhere higher or deeper. It is common for this turning point to be accompanied by a series of synchronicities, encounters, phrases that touch deeply, revealing dreams. The universe, with kindness and firmness, gives signs. And when pain becomes master, the seed of rebirth is born. He begins to pray, write, talk to more conscious friends, or even seek real spiritual help. And then something different emerges. It's not just the desire to stop masturbating, it's the desire to rebuild yourself. Like a wounded warrior who finds a spiritual sword on the ground, he stands up, even staggering, with a firm intention of finding his strength again. And little does he know that what awaits him is much more than a simple change of habit. It is a journey of reconnection with the light, peace, and prosperity that come from the Creator of the universe. And that, of course, is just the beginning. Renunciation seems like a heavy word until the moment you understand what it really means, giving up what pulls you down so you can fly. The man who decides to follow this path begins, little by little, to nip the evil in the bud. Delete your history, uninstall apps, avoid people and places that ignite the fire of unconscious desire. He feels, yes, that he is losing something. But, in reality, he is making space to receive something infinitely greater: peace, light, prosperity, and the silent presence of the Creator of the universe. In the beginning, falls are inevitable. The mind screams, the body demands, and the environment seems completely built to tempt you. It may relapse after a few days, and the shame comes like a wave. But instead of giving up, he learns to observe the pattern. He realizes it's not weakness, it's conditioning. Every time you fall, you get up with more awareness, more strength, more faith that you are going in the right direction. Guilt gives way to spiritual maturity, which grows with each choice that honors the sacred within. Over time, he creates his own rituals. Place a glass of water with salt in the room, light myrrh incense, fast from stimulation, and start talking to the Creator of the universe before going to sleep. These are details that, for many, seem silly, but it is these small gestures that shield your energy. The vow of retention becomes a personal pact, almost like a spiritual contract of freedom. And it's curious. The more he says no to what imprisons him, the more he feels the yes of life echoing in everything around him. Something magical begins to happen when a man realizes that sexual energy that previously dominated him can now be used as fuel to create. The force that previously dragged you towards the abyss becomes an impulse to study, undertake, paint, write, train, meditate, whatever. He wakes up more energetic, feels his heart vibrating at a different frequency. It begins to produce, as if prosperity were flowing naturally through the veins. And all this without losing connection with the creator of the universe. The mind, previously numb by fantasies, begins to clear. He learns to replace the habit of falling with conscious actions. He picks up a book like Autobiography of a Yogi, or The Power of Now, or he goes to learn something new, like gardening, music, creative writing. That's what transmuting energy is, channeling raw desire into something elevated, which generates light and no longer darkness. The curious thing is that even time seems to yield more. It's as if the clock starts working for you, not against you. Anyone who discovers meditation at this point feels the game changing for good. 5 minutes of silence, full attention to your breathing, and that's it. The energy that would go up towards addiction goes down to the soul. He engages in practices that nurture his spirituality, such as yoga, herbal baths, intuitive writing, and even volunteering. The pleasure that used to come from empty minutes now comes from whole days full of meaning. The presence of the creator of the universe begins to be felt in the details, and true peace approaches delicately. What I'm explaining here is much more detailed in my ebook, The Power of Semen Retention. There is a simple step-by-step guide for you to apply in your everyday life. It's really worth it. As the days pass, something begins to reorganize within the man. It's as if your mind is being reprogrammed, deconstructing years of conditioning that made you associate pleasure with emptiness. What once seemed harmless, a click here, a glance there, now begins to repulse. He sees, with uncomfortable clarity, how much he has been manipulated by external stimuli. The desire to maintain your light, your vital energy, becomes greater than the desire to satisfy yourself through instinct. But make no mistake, along with clarity comes challenge. The trapped energy begins to accumulate as static electricity within the chest, pulsing. And if he doesn't have a structure, meditation, physical training, artistic creation, this energy explodes, taking him back to the previous cycle. This is where the importance of discipline and mental vigilance comes in. He understands that impure thoughts are not neutral. They are thieves of peace, prosperity, and the presence of the creator of the universe. For many, this phase is where everything is decided. The mind tries to negotiate, just once, just for relief. But the man who has understood the value of his energy learns to laugh at these thoughts like someone who recognizes a trap. It trains your mind like a monk trains his focus, lightly but firmly. Creating a mental shielding routine, such as reading Proverbs in the morning, journaling at night, or avoiding screens before bed, can make all the difference. Because now, more than ever, he knows, his light is worth much more than an instant of darkness. Taming your own sexual energy is like trying to contain a wild horse that has been running loose for years. At first, he kicks, neighs, tries to escape. The man feels as if he is trying to catch lightning with his hands. It is intense, unpredictable, sometimes exhausting. But little by little, with consistency, he realizes that he can be the knight, and no longer the victim of his own impulse. It is at this point that he begins to experience a new form of prosperity, that of self-control. The energy that once knocked you down now bows before your discipline. He realizes that he doesn't need to fight it, but to lead it, like a martial arts master who redirects his opponent's strength. Daily physical exercises, such as running, calisthenics, or functional training, help to discharge excess load. Reading about alchemy, practicing conscious breathing, or even taking an ice-cold bath become allies. And always with the invisible but palpable presence of the creator of the universe there, as a silent guide. Not everyone can get here. Many give up sooner, thinking that giving in is easier than transforming. But whoever continues feels something change. The desire still exists, but it has lost its power of manipulation. Now he serves, not commands. The light within begins to shine brighter, and peace establishes itself as the new standard. And the most curious thing is that this control does not make him rigid, but light, like someone who finally understood that true power is that which manifests itself in silence. Over time, man begins to develop a spiritual sensitivity that he previously did not even imagine was possible. He enters an environment and feels if there is good or charged energy there. You can perceive intentions between the lines, impurities in looks, and even recognize whether a person is vibrating in light or just wearing a mask of kindness. Intuition emerges, like a sixth sense guided by the inner peace that he protects so much now. The presence of the Creator of the universe becomes more noticeable, not outside, but within. This new perception changes everything, especially in the field of relationships. He stops feeling attracted to bodies and begins to connect with essences. Women who once seemed irresistible now cause you discomfort if they exude artificial sensuality or carnal intent. And those with purity, with a sparkle in their eyes, with a clean soul, awaken something more noble in him. Discernment becomes your invisible shield. And with that, your relational prosperity also transforms. Dreams still come, of course. Sometimes with desire, sometimes with old patterns trying to resurface in the unconscious. But now he wakes up with awareness, elevates his thoughts, says a prayer, takes a cold shower and cleans the field. He learned not to entertain fantasies even in his sleep. And even without understanding everything rationally, you know that you are being led by something bigger. After all, when the soul begins to align with the Creator of the universe, choices begin to come from above, and no longer from instinct. There comes a point in the journey when man becomes extremely aware of his life force. He feels, almost physically, when his energy is high, and also when something drains it. A simple thought of desire already seems to suck your light, as if opening a small spiritual tap. Masturbation then becomes unthinkable. Not because of repression, but because of understanding the cost. Every drop lost takes with it peace, clarity, and connection with the Creator of the universe. It's as if he began to live in a state of energy economy, not because of scarcity, but because of wisdom. He no longer wastes his strength on useless arguments, toxic social networks, or momentary desires. Realize that real luxury is waking up in peace, with your eyes shining, with inner prosperity overflowing. Retention extends to the mental plane. He monitors thoughts, filters images, even his words gain more weight. All because he now knows that his energy is sacred. And this awareness even reaches sleep. Men begin to be more careful about what they see before going to sleep, what they hear, what they think. Say prayers before going to bed, invoke the Creator of the universe, and mentalize energetic protection during dreams. Because even in the dream world, he wants to remain in retention. Does it seem exaggerated? Perhaps for those who have never felt the power that comes from keeping life within themselves. But for him, this is just the beginning of a new way of existing. At this point, he is no longer the same man. Something about him has changed definitively, and it's not just in appearance, but in his posture, his look, his vibe. It is as if you have been reborn, now with the crown of consciousness resting on your head. Not that crown that seeks applause or fame, but that of the man who governs himself. He carries the light of the Creator of the universe within his chest, and this silent energy attracts people, opportunities, and a peace that previously seemed unattainable. The change is so visible that even others begin to notice. Friends ask if he's going to the gym, if he's changed his haircut, if he's in love. But he knows. It's vital energy overflowing. This same energy that now makes you make decisions more clearly, speak with more presence, walk with more purpose. Prosperity stops being just financial and becomes emotional, spiritual, even physical. Nature seems to smile at him, and it's not an exaggeration, it's harmony. But along with this new strength, new temptations also come. It's easy to get distracted by compliments, invitations, wishes that come back disguised as achievements. The ego tries to infiltrate itself, whispering, "You've already won, now you can relax." But the true king doesn't sit on the throne to sleep. He remains vigilant, humble, connected to the Creator of the universe. Because he already understood that the journey continues, and that there are still invisible treasures ahead, waiting for those who continue steadfastly. When man deepens his journey, he begins to encounter masters along the way, some of flesh and blood, others of yellowed pages. He discovers the teachings of Krishna on self-control, of Christ on the power of renunciation, of Vivekananda on vital energy, and of Ramakrishna on inner purity. And everything starts to make sense. He realizes that ancient wisdom already spoke, in other words, of what he lives now. Guarding your energy is guarding your soul. And in this, he connects even more to the Creator of the universe. Sacred texts take on a new flavor. They are no longer read out of curiosity, but as a map of spiritual instructions. He underlines sentences, reflects on parables, applies ideas in everyday life. Instead of seeking immediate pleasure, you begin to desire true prosperity, that which comes from above, from connection, from transcendence. He understands that giving up animal pleasure is not losing, but gaining, like someone giving up crumbs to receive a banquet. And the more you give up, the more you feel fulfilled. Some days are challenging, of course. But at these times, he returns to his masters. Read excerpts from Bhagavad Gita, Imitation of Christ, or remember stories of saints who experienced the same dilemma. It strengthens you, because he understands that the light he seeks is not a modern invention, but an ancient flame, lit by generations of seekers. And on this path, he is not alone. He walks with his feet on the ground, but with his gaze focused on the Creator of the universe who guides him firmly. At first, everything seems difficult. Every conscious choice takes effort, every temptation feels like a test, and the mind screams for comfort. The man feels as if he is trying to hoist a huge sail against the wind, but something inside him insists. And it is precisely this insistence that attracts invisible help. Peace begins to appear between the intervals of struggle, and the Creator of the universe begins to guide you like a subtle breeze that blows in the right direction. What was once an effort becomes a habit. He wakes up lighter, thinks more clearly, and his practices stop being an obligation and become pleasure. Meditating is no longer difficult. Taking a deep breath in the midst of chaos becomes a superpower. And that feeling of being in constant battle turns into a dance. Prosperity becomes natural, in relationships, in finances, in health, because now he lives in flow, no longer in conflict. And the most incredible thing, it's just that he realizes that he didn't get there alone. It was the falls, the stumbles, and the new beginnings that taught him to walk firmly. The presence of the Creator of the universe has been there the entire time, sometimes silent, but always present. Now, the man sails with the sails raised, and the wind blows in his favor. But, could this calm breeze be the end of the journey? Or just the announcement that the sky will open for something even bigger? Now tell me, after all this, are you still going to give up your vital energy for a few seconds of empty pleasure? Or will you take the throne of your own life and start rewriting your story today? The decision is in your hands. But remember, each time you retain, you reconnect. Every time you say no to addiction, you say yes to peace, to prosperity, and to the presence of the Creator of the universe flowing within you. Maybe you're wondering, can I do it? The answer is yes, if you have the courage to take the first step. Start small, firm, and go further. Your body will resist, your mind will sabotage, but your spirit will guide you. Now I ask you, how long will you allow your energy to be wasted? How long will you live below your potential? If this content helped you in any way, like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything that's coming. We're going to dive deeper into this topic, and you'll discover that retention is just the beginning. Let's grow together. Don't leave it for later. Click on the first pinned comment, purchase the ebook, and start changing your energy, your mind, and your life today.